Hey everybody from Beantown to your town. This is the Beantown Beatdown. I'm Matthew Barris along with
Gabe Shamus here, also from Beantown.
Yep. And by the way, love the shirt there, representing California, representing the Golden State Fine. Too bad I can't say the same for the Warriors.
Here we go.
Yeah, it's over for you guys.
But, I'm going to be going and representing there, so I'm starting to dress like it. I'm going to be going down there in a week or two.
Yes. All right, and let's get to it with some headlines. First and foremost, the Glory event on Friday. That was great. Glory and Lily France. That was awesome.
Nice.
Sichite Sachaktupong won the tournament. He won the lightweight tournament, even defeating David Kurat in the first round with a knee. He just went bam, a knee to the gut, and he went down and just couldn't get back up. Well, he got back up, but he didn't beat the count. And let me tell you something. I had David Kira, winning that. Him being a former lightweight champion and karate and stuff. I mean, I really had him winning that fight.
Yeah.
Yes, but of course he lost, and he lost in the tournament. And Sichite, I mean, he's his first fight in Glory, fights in the tournament, wins, and now he's the number one contender to take on Robin van Roosmalen at a later date. And also in the main event, Rico Verhoeven, still the heavyweight champion of the world.
Nice.
Yep, beat Benjamin Aguibag. Sorry, not good at pronouncing that name. But, didn't knock him out, but hurt him. I thought he could have pushed the pace a little more to knock him out, get him out of there. But other than that, it was still a good fight. And
how many rounds did that go?
That went 5 rounds.
5 rounds. I was about to say, I don't know if you still count rounds and whatnot, but...
Oh, yeah, you still count rounds. And Glory's next event is going to be in August 8th. That will be Nikki Holskin versus, what is his name? Oh, yeah, Raymond Daniels. I think it was originally supposed to be Holskin versus Joseph Vattolini too, but Joseph Vattolini had to vacate the belt, the welterweight belt, because he has a concussion syndrome. So he had to vacate the title. He's been getting headaches and being dizzy, so he says he's taking some time off to recover from that. And until then, he says that he's working on his gym, and you can also catch him in the new Kickboxer remake, the one with George West St. Pierre, Batista, Gina Carano, and of course, the original star of the movie, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yep, so
that's gonna be something.
Oh yeah, be on the lookout for that. And also in some other news as well. We got a double dose of fighting on Saturday night. First off, UFC pay-per-view. Cain Velasquez and Fabricio Verdum for the undisputed heavyweight title in Mexico City, Mexico. I am looking forward to this fight. This is going to be a classic striker versus grappler. I mean, Velasquez is great at striking. I mean, he's good at grappling. I mean, he's a wrestler and all, but we haven't really seen his submission skills. And Fabricio Verdum, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and has submitted tons of fighters, especially Fedor. I saw that night when he submitted Fedor in Strikeforce. Yeah. But Fabricio has been getting good with his striking skills lately. I mean, his kickboxing has really come along. In fact, in his last fight for the interim heavyweight title, he knocked out Mark Hunt with a knee. I mean, he knocked out a former K1 Grand Prix champion.
With a knee? You mean like knee gut?
Gut? No, he kneed him to the chin. He just went boom, and Mark Hunt was out. Yeah, he was out. And so this is, this is going to be a good fight. I hope everyone orders this fight, especially how it's the UFC's second venture in Margaritaville. Oh yeah. Yes, and the Mexican fans are definitely going to be there for Cain Velasquez, Mexican American. And also on the undercard, another Mexican American is going to be on there. Gilbert Melendez. He's going to be taking on Eddie Alvarez, who, I mean, this
Melendez versus Alvarez.
Yeah.
Watch out, people.
Oh yeah, Alvarez. Well, it sounds Hispanic, although I think he's Italian.
I was about to say, I didn't think that quite worked. And then Melendez, that definitely works with the Spanish thing, but Alvarez not quite.
Yeah. This has been a fight people have been waiting 5 years, to see. I mean, because, they were in different organizations. Like, Melendez was in Strikeforce, and Alvarez, he was either at Bodog or, he was in Bellator. And now that they're both in the UFC, they can finally have this fight. And this is going to be another striker versus grappler match. But in this fight, I see Eddie Alvarez winning by a third-round split decision. It's going to be a close fight. It's definitely going to be a close fight. And also, before that, that pay-per-view starts at 10. But at 9 o'clock on Showtime, Deontay Wilder is going to be making his first title defense of the WBC Heavyweight Championship in his hometown of Alabama against Eric Molina, who's from Texas. Wow. Oh, yeah. And, Deontay Wilder, I mean, he has just been a breath of fresh air in the heavyweight division, being heavyweight champion, bringing one of the belts back to America. And let me tell you something. I think if he wins this fight impressively, he should definitely get a shot at Vladimir Klitschko. Oh yeah, Vladimir versus Deontay Wilder. It would be an awesome heavyweight fight. Because and plus it would prove if Vladimir is a real great heavyweight champion. I mean, right now he's had the reputation of having some boring fights, not really having anybody step up in competition against him, and also he's famous for being Hayden Panettiere's baby daddy. Oh yeah,
there we go.
Yeah.
No, it's funny too that you said like that there's the boring fights and stuff. Like I think we talked about that on one of our podcasts that sometimes the fighters need to have an X factor, and it's kind of sometimes too bad that we pin all of that on them. If they still win, but they win by a boring fight, that's not quite as interesting enough. Can we keep them around? You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's the business
nature
side
of the beast.
Yeah, it's the business side of the sport.
Yeah.
But Deontay Wilder, he's a knockout artist. I mean, he hits pretty hard.
Yeah.
But of course, he's got to get through this fight. And then this fight is taking place in Alabama. He's from Tuscaloosa. Yeah, Tuscaloosa,
Alabama.
Yeah, and actually that's where Lionel Richie's from.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Lionel Richie's from there. So, good night of fights. Hope you guys watch them, and I know I'm going to be watching them with my Bud Light Lime margaritas and my Taco Bell.
Nice.
Oh, yes, I'm getting Taco Bell for this fight. And now, wait, do you want to do your rant first, or do I want to?
What do you want to do?
Yeah, you know what?
As Draper would say, pick a side and get with it.
Yeah. Okay, you know what? We'll let you do your rant first.
Okay, gotcha. My rant of the day, I'm going to be talking about Aikido. We're going to be getting this back for an angle here. So, what's something that's really important about Aikido is that it's a very different type of martial art than what we're used to. The whole principle is very different. It's not about your brute strength, and in fact, you use the enemy's brute strength against them. It's about swiftness. It's about staying in your center, and those are the main things. The interesting thing is that, like I said, it's about staying in your center. They say that you can be as centered as possible, even when someone's attacking you, which, as we know, very hard. But if you stay centered and you can pull them off their center, that's where the power actually comes from. So one of the things that I'm trying to remember from my class back in the day, but one of the things that I do remember is that you can have a stance like this, or perhaps a regular fighting stance, but then when they come at you, and a lot of times in the movies, let them go ahead and they smash into the wall. It's like that instead. So you have your dukes up right here, and then they come at you, go like this, let them go to the side, and then you either take their arm and pull their arm down, or you can sort of push them along the way. See, I'm still centered right here, but I'm pushing the other person down. So it's like that, and one of the exercises we like to do is, if I remember correctly, is like this and like that, this and like that, and this sort of imitates the same type of thing if you were to extend the whole arm motion. And so when it's down here, that's when you're dragging someone else down to your center, but you don't go too far off the ground, because then they can drag you down. That right down here, boom. So that's one of my favorite things about it, and I think that's a long forgotten principle about fighting.
Well, yeah, I mean, Steven. Well, of course, Aikido has always been around, but of course, it was made more popular because of Steven Seagal.
Exactly, I was about to say it's Seagal's territory too.
Yeah, and actually, well, I don't know if it would work in mixed martial arts. I mean, I think it's because like the highest, I think because that whole thing of switching around, and stuff. Because, I mean, I guess unlike Seagal, you know how to like trap an arm and do this and stuff, but
right, exactly.
Which
is also the same type of idea. Trap their arm, and it doesn't give you a weapon, but it takes a weapon away from them, which is a very important first step.
Yeah, but because it's mostly inside fighting and stuff, and I mean, I don't know if it would work in MMA, especially against a good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu master or a good judoka, or even against maybe it might work against a Greco-Roman or freestyle wrestler, but against a Jiu-Jitsu or judoka, I don't think it would work.
Right. Well, I mean, the thing with Jiu-Jitsus and judoka is that they have similar skills. It's not they know how to be swift and stuff, whereas this works very well against people that don't know how to be swift, don't know how to control themselves, like you said, Greco-Roman probably.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Steven Seagal, man, he's still going strong in the movies too.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, that's the other thing. It's about your longevity too. I mean, that's the other thing. You use when you do these things, you can if you do them right, you can use the least amount of energy, and that's a whole other side of it that people don't even think about. Like you can get into the enemy's territory and and that might be good to get them backing up. But guess what? Eventually you're like tiring yourself out. Your arms have gone so much more than their feet have gone. So it's also about that. Like, what if you conserved your energy and were able to keep going, have more endurance against them?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, absolutely. And Steven Seagal, before he got into movies, he was actually teaching Aikido in Japan. He was the only Caucasian American to have a dojo there in Japan.
Fascinating. Yeah.
Yeah, and he had a lot of challengers. So anyone who thinks that Steven Seagal is just a movie guy, even though he has put on some weight, he'll still fuck you up.
Right.
Yeah, he has a background in karate and judo as well, and that's why he's also been, he's worked with guys at Black House, Black House MMA. He's been working with Anderson Silva, Lyoto Machida, Junior Dos Santos, and Gloria Teixeira. He's been working a lot with those guys.
Yeah, totally.
He worked with Machida on the crane kick, and Anderson with the front kick to the face to Vito Belfort. So, Seagal is still pretty much a badass.
Totally.
Oh yes, absolutely.
And to think that it's these types of principles that that got him there.
Oh yes, yeah, absolutely. And now we're gonna go into Blast from the Past. And Blast from the Past, I'm gonna be talking about last year's Last Man Standing tournament from Glory. Yeah, that night it was incredible. I mean, they put kickboxing on pay-per-view.
Right.
And I remember this night. I was looking forward to this. You know, I saw the Spike TV version of it. Well, they did Spike. Yeah, I mean, they did Glory 17 from California. And, you know, this was the fights before they started the pay-per-view. And Gabriel Varga, you know, won the featherweight tournament. And then Mirko Krokop won his fight. And the thing about, and also, you know, that fight also took place at the Great Western, the LA Western Forum, where where the Lakers used to play, you know, the Showtime days.
Yes, definitely.
And also a little fight history about that arena as well is that's where the Chavez and Roger Mayweather rematch took place. Oh yeah, that was a good fight. And you know, in that pay-per-view, I actually saw it with a friend of mine, Pinto. He came over to my house and we saw the pay-per-view and we saw the Last Man Standing tournament. You know, of all the middleweights, I was really surprised that Melvin Manhoff didn't go that far because I had Manhoff winning that tournament. Yeah, and of course in the finals it went down to, you know, Schilling and Levin, and well, the rest is history. Levin went on to become champion. But also that night, Daniel Guita took on Rico Verhoeven in a rematch for the heavyweight title, and this is for the vacant title. I mean, they fought once before in the heavyweight contenders tournament, and Rico beat Daniel Guita in the second fight. You know, Verhoeven, you know, put a whooping on his ass again, and that pay-per-view was awesome. I mean, Dolph Lundgren was there, Ivan Drago himself. Of course, what many people don't realize is Lundgren actually is a black belt in Kyokushin Karate. Oh yeah. This was before he became an MIT student, before Rocky IV and all the movies he eventually went into.
Right.
Yeah, Joe Rogan from the UFC, he was there. Lee Sherwood, who plays Ray Donovan, and of course we all know him as Sabretooth from the X-Men movies. He was there as well. And, you know, it was a great night of kickboxing. It was fantastic. The pay-per-view numbers didn't really do as well. You know, didn't do all that good. But, you know, hopefully they'll be back on pay-per-view. I mean, I hope so, too, because Glory is a great kickboxing organization. You know, their numbers have been doing pretty well on Spike. And, you know, I just hope it comes back on pay-per-view.
Right. Did you say this was last year?
Yeah, last year in June. Okay. Yeah, and also
so this is our most recent Blast from the Past as well.
Well, yeah, you know,
Blast from the most recent past.
Yeah, it was, and also I hope that Glory goes back to the 8-man tournaments. You know, I mean, they had the 8-man tournament that year. You know, with the middleweights. You know, it was like 8 contenders, 7 will fall, 1 will be champion, and you know, I really hope it goes. You know, I really hope they put on more 8-man tournaments because, you know, 4-man tournaments, those are too short for me. Yeah, they're too short for me. And,
I mean, it seems tough to think how they would even rotate through that. That doesn't seem much like a tournament. That's like, what, 2-3 matches?
2 fights.
2 fights?
Well, it's 3 fights. It's like
3 fights because you have to determine after
exactly
2 winners. But yeah, I mean, that's not much. No, it seems hardly a tournament.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's hardly a tournament. But you know, Glory is still doing well. I mean, they're actually gonna, in fact, for their August 8th event, they're gonna be in Vegas. Yeah, at the Hard Rock at the Hard Rock Hotel and Cafe there.
So Vegas has been seeing a lot of fighting action this year.
Well, yeah, you know,
sure.
And of course, the Hard Rock has a great reputation of past fights, you know, from WEC and the UFC as well, and so I mean now Glory's been pretty much anywhere. They've been in New York for the theater at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
They've been in Chicago. They've been in Tokyo, Japan. They've been in LA for the Great Western Forum. They've been in France, Morocco. They've been in. They've been pretty much everywhere, all around the world. And
it sounds like it, all around the world. There's the same list as the World Cup of soccer. It's like all over the place.
Well, yeah, Glory. I've always said kickboxing is the soccer of combat sports. So and they've just been going everywhere, and the fan bases for kickboxing is like everywhere. But I can see in the United States it's starting to pick up. I can definitely see it, especially with the Friday Night Lights thing that's been going on with Spike TV. I mean, this has been a real blessing. So I just hope that they do more. It gets to a point where they start doing more pay-per-views and the tournaments become longer and have better fights.
Mm-hmm.
So I just hope it gets to that point in 2 years. Yeah, in 2 years. And now I'm going to go into my rant of the day. And for anybody who's been living under a rock, Oscar De La Hoya is considering coming back.
Yes, that's right.
Yes, the Golden Boy is considering coming back. And I read about this online. He did. Actually, they reported this on TMZ. De La Hoya was doing a radio interview in LA, and he says that he's really contemplating coming back to take on Gennady Golovkin, who's one of the middleweight champions. He's Russian. Either him, and now they're saying he probably wants to come back and fight Miguel Cotto, when really Canelo Alvarez is next in line to fight Cotto. But that's beyond the point.
The point is, should he come back, and what's it like nowadays?
Hail to the motherfucking no.
Here we go.
Yeah, and here's why. Okay, in his last fight, De La Hoya took on Manny Pacquiao, and Manny Pacquiao fucked him up. I mean, he was outboxing De La Hoya, out jabbing him, quicker, faster, he fucked De La Hoya up.
Yeah.
And the 5 years, about 5.5 years since this fight has happened, De La Hoya has been sitting behind a desk, really. Because of Golden Boy Promotions. He's in the last 5 years he's been sitting behind a desk. He still looks he looks like he's still in a bit shape. He may be in walking around shape, but but fighting shape, no. Also, he's been battling his alcoholism. He's been twice he's been in rehab. And
this gets into the stuff though that's I agree that that we should judge this on whether or not he should come back, and that should be a factor against him. But at the same time, how all these great people, we have aspirations of these great people, and he was one of the greats back in the day. That then we judge them a certain way because of how they act in their personal life. I'm not quite comfortable with that.
Well, I'm not judging him. I'm just saying that when you've battling alcoholism and stuff, and you do put on a little weight and whatnot.
Right. And get out of shape.
Yeah,
I guess that's what you're saying, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And plus, there's really no need for him to come back because he's got Golden Boy Promotions. They've been doing pretty well on Fox Sports 1, kicking ass, especially with his nephew Diego, who's becoming a top contender in the featherweight division.
Right.
He's won multiple world titles. From featherweight, lightweight, welterweight, all the way up to junior middle. Yeah, all the way up to junior middleweight. Well, actually, he did win a title at middleweight, but then he went back down because in the fight he was a little slow and he didn't finish off one of his opponents like he usually would. And on top of that,
do you think you can stay in too long? Do you think that would be the problem for some of these people, like La Hoya, if he were to come back, or some people that just like? Do you think you stop seeing them as a certain way, and they're past their prime? Do you think some people, if they weren't kicked out, they'd stay in too long?
well, yeah, I mean, the legacy becomes tarnished. And Golovkin, I mean, guys like Golovkin, Alvarez, Cotto, Peter Quillen, who are like the top four. Also, I got to put in Andy Lee as well. Andy Lee, I mean, these are the top 5 middleweights in the world right now.
Right.
And these guys, if he fought either one of these guys, or even if he fought a mediocre middleweight fighter, De La Hoya's gonna get smoked. I mean, they're gonna smoke him like a fresh pack of Newports. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I know, yes, Oscar De La Hoya, one of the greatest Mexican fighters of all time. He was box office in his prime.
Yeah.
But this isn't 1997 anymore. It's not 1996. It's not 97. It's not 98 anymore. This is 2015. Those guys are in their prime. They would destroy him.
Right.
Yeah, they would destroy him. And plus, it would also leave a black mark on his legacy.
Right. Like you said, you tarnish the legacy.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
I would have to agree with that, even though they might respect him as what he was. You have to fight him who he is now.
Yeah, he would just be like an average fighter now.
Right.
He would just be an average fighter. And also, let's take it out of the realm of fighting for a bit. Take a look at Michael Jordan.
Right.
Okay? Remember when Michael Jordan came back to he came back and he played for the Washington Wizards?
Right.
Okay? The Michael Jordan who scored 63 points against the Celtics, who came back in his first comeback and helped the Bulls win 3 more titles. That Michael Jordan was gone. That Michael Jordan was gone. The Michael Jordan that came back for the Wizards, he injured his knee. His shooting skills weren't at where it was in his prime.
Right.
He barely got to the basket. I mean, there were times in those 2 years that he came back, you would see a flash of greatness. You would see a flash of what he used to be.
Right.
But then it was gone. And the Wizards, they didn't make the playoffs those years. Yeah. Exactly. That wasn't. And my brother said it best about Michael Jordan now. Michael Jordan right now is average. And people still say like, well, he's still Michael Jordan. He's the best. If he could come back now, it's like, no, he couldn't come back now because, the tendonitis. He's had tendonitis in his knees. His knees aren't what they used to be. He has put on weight. If you ever seen him in interviews and TV and stuff, he has put on weight. I mean, not big weight, but he looks a little chubby. And on top of that, he spends most of his time on the golf course smoking cigars.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, that's just it, though. Like you said, it's about their legacy. Their legacy will live on for how great they were, and that's not what he's meant to do right now. He's meant to be a public figure that does interviews. You know what I mean? He's not meant to be back on the court.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, people. Well, it hasn't tarnished Michael. I mean, Michael's second comeback hasn't really tarnished his legacy because people have kind of forgiven him for that.
Right.
But what it does is it takes away people's lasting memory. I mean, when he hit the shot against Utah, that was the image everybody wanted to have. Everybody wanted to have that image. They just wanted to have that image. We want that.
Why did you buy the Air Jordans? Why were they the best back in the day? Because, it resembled some greatness.
Yeah, exactly. And Michael, when he came back, because when he came back, remember, he was he was in charge of, he was like the general manager of the Wizards, and he saw that, the team was struggling, and he just saw it as an opportunity that, hey, this is a good challenge. I can come back and maybe I can help this team.
Right.
But that wasn't, that just wasn't the case. And anybody who knows Michael Jordan knows Michael Jordan is a competitor on the court and off the court. I mean, he's a competitor. He's the type of guy where, he'll try to beat you in golf. He'll try to beat you in cards. I mean, one time I was watching Sports Century on him. One of his friends says that Michael Jordan, he was playing bingo with his mother, his friend's mother.
Yeah. And
he was trying to cheat in order to win at bingo.
He had to cheat against the old lady.
Yeah, and Michael Jordan, he's the kind of person, if he loses, he'll keep playing you until he wins.
Right.
I mean, he's the kind of person where, like, let's say if you and him were playing Monopoly, and all of a sudden it's 3 o'clock in the morning, he's like, and you've beat him, you're like, come on, man, let's play again. Come on, let's go. And you're gonna be like, dude, it's 3 in the morning. Can I go to bed, please?
Right, exactly. So but I mean that's what got him to where he was. It's clearly his rise to fame. He had determination, he had grit, all the things they say you need.
Yeah, it is. But at a certain point, you gotta know when to turn it on and when to turn it off.
Right.
And Michael Jordan, yes, greatest basketball player in the world. But if he were to come back now against LeBron James in a one-on-one game, he would lose. I mean, right now, Michael Jordan has like a fantasy camp, and people come to his fantasy camp and they play against him. He can beat those guys.
Right.
Those guys can, they can give him a tough game, but he can still beat them.
Right.
But right now, Michael Jordan is average. He's an average guy now. He's an average player. Okay, that Michael Jordan that scored 55 points against the Knicks, which, by the way, I think it's 20. It's been 20 years ago. Yeah, 20-year anniversary. Yeah, the Jordan that scored, the double nickel game. The Michael Jordan that played through the flu to win Game 5 against the Utah Jazz.
Right.
The Michael Jordan that won the slam dunk contest against Dominique Wilkins in '88. That Michael Jordan is gone. He's gone. Right. And with De La Hoya, the Oscar De La Hoya that beat Julio Cesar Chavez, Pernell Whitaker, Iquarte, Fernando Vargas, Ricardo Mayorga, that Oscar De La Hoya is gone. That Oscar De La Hoya he'll be given a boxing lesson like no other. Okay? That Oscar De La Hoya will fail. He will tarnish his Hall of Fame legacy. He's already in the Hall of Fame, as I said.
Right.
He should just stay retired, just focus on the business aspect, get the Cotto versus Alvarez fight made, which is the fight everybody wants to see. Okay?
Right.
No, and, Oscar De La Hoya, in his prime, he was the best. I mean, even women, he had more female fans too. If you remember back in the day, he was Ricky Martin before Ricky Martin. Well, no, Ricky Martin was part of Menudo as a kid and stuff, but he was Ricky Martin before Ricky Martin went solo. Women who had never been to a boxing match before, all of a sudden were flocking to see him. And
right.
De La Hoya, he was on talk shows, and he was doing albums. He won like a Latin Grammy. He was dating, all beautiful women. Actually dated Shayna Moakler for a bit before she, and had a kid, had a daughter with her. So, it's, he was.
So you're saying that that he, that just because he was all of that back then, it's great. It's not who he is now, and it's hard to step down. It's hard to say that you couldn't do something that you can't do something anymore that you used to be able to do. That used to be the best at. I don't pretend to know what that's like, and I think we should cut them a little bit of slack for wanting to come back. But at the same time, everything that we said.
Yeah, I mean, people will probably watch out of curiosity to see if he can do it.
Right.
I mean, if this fight was if he comes back to fight Kodo or any of those guys, I mean, of course I'll watch it out of curiosity, but I'm not gonna watch to root for him. I'm not gonna root for the guy because I already know what's gonna happen.
Right.
I mean.
Right. I mean, I think that's why we kind of don't want to see them come back. We don't want to be disappointed, right?
Well, yeah, and also people will say like, well, this could, I know boxing fans right now who are probably watching this are going to be like, well, this could help with the money. This could help put some more money back in the sport of boxing. Mm-hmm. Oh, he'll can break some more box office records. I mean, because he was box office for the longest time until Mayweather came in and started outselling him.
Right.
But you know what? At the end of the day, it's just not going to happen. I mean, even if he does make some money off it, I mean, what's next? I mean, if he loses, it's bad. I mean, there's no chance of him winning. I don't see him winning. I don't see him beating any of these top 5 fighters that I mentioned. It's just not gonna happen.
Right. It's not gonna help, I think, is what you're getting at too. It's not gonna help the idea of him, even though it might bring back some excitement for the idea of him. It's not gonna help. I think they can help their cause and their legacy by continuing to be publicists and continuing to like you said, Michael Jordan. He has regular people win fantasy tickets to come over and play him, and that's how he can sort of keep up.
And he's also the owner of the Charlotte Hornets.
Right, the Hornets, exactly. So that's how you can keep up. What your sort of contribution and what you gave without showing how you've actually declined since then.
Oh yeah, I bet. And also for a while, Mark Price, he was like the shooting coach for the Bobcats. Mm-hmm. And back in the day when Mark was on the Cavaliers and Jordan was on the Bulls, I mean the Bulls like destroyed the Cavs.
Right.
I bet you he would. It must be a bitch for Mark Price to like go into Jordan's office and see Michael smoke a cigar and flicking one of his rings, saying like, "So, Mark, how are the players doing?" And Mark is just like, "Oh, fuck you." It's like, I need this job, buddy, but still. Exactly.
Yeah.
But and plus, you don't want Oscar to be one of these fighters that stay too long. I mean, right now, look at Ken Shamrock. I mean, he's coming back to fight Kimbo Slice, and Shamrock's another guy that needs to retire. I don't know why he's coming back. I mean, he was doing bodyguard work for a while, and bodyguarding for 50 Cent. He said he was going to open up his own bodyguard agency, and now he wants to come back to fight Kimbo Slice. I mean, Ken Shamrock. He's got a death wish. I mean, he's one punch away from being brain dead at this point. Mm. We don't. I mean, right? And I was talking to a guy in Barnes and Nobles about this too. I said, the baby boomers, they don't see Ken Shamrock as the pioneer of mixed martial arts. From him being in the first UFC with Royce Gracie and being a legend. Yeah. They don't see him the way you and I see him. They see Ken Shamrock now as the UFC Hall of Famer who's over the hill and trying to turn back the hands of time, which is pathetic, really. It really is pathetic. But that's my feeling on it. Oscar should not come back. I think he should just continue promoting Golden Boy Promotions. Try to get his nephew in the rankings, and hopefully a world champion, maybe even a better world champion than him.
Right.
But as far as coming back, fuck no. No. And that will do it. And just before we go,
programming note.
Yep. You want to tell it? Or?
All right. Yeah, I'm gonna be leaving for California. Actually, in like less than a week. I just realized. So we're gonna be on hiatus with the show, but we're gonna be continuing to figure out the best way to promote it and a new home for it. We're gonna have a Facebook page for it, and we're considering having our own YouTube channel for this. So stay tuned for that.
Yep, we're gonna have some, and also with our Facebook page, we're gonna be doing some blogs, and we're gonna be uploading our videos there.
Exactly, news on the world of fights.
Yeah, exactly. And you said you're going to San Francisco, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's from San Francisco.
Yeah.
Yep, and also the Golden State Warriors are going to be moving there pretty soon. I think they got one more year left before they move from Oakland back to San Francisco.
There you go.
And I know the team is still in Oakland, but like San Francisco, they pretty much share the Warriors and stuff. Mm-hmm. So here's a little something to give to all the Warrior fans here. There you go. There.
What the hell is this?
I mean, I don't have enough tissues for tears, but
yeah, I'll pass out the tissues for tears.
Yeah. I mean, Stephen Curry's been good this season. I mean, he rightfully deserved the MVP, but this has really been LeBron's year, and LeBron is he's on fire. Also, game 4 is tonight. I think now I predicted this would go 6 games, but LeBron really has been motivated since the Game 1 loss in overtime, and I think if the Warriors lose this game, I think mentally they'll be broken. Yeah, they'll be mentally broken, I think. But we'll see how it goes, and of course we all know the Cavs are going to win. Next year, maybe next year. Maybe next year, or maybe not next year because Kobe's going to be coming back. So we'll see about that.
Yeah, well, whatever. We can last. If the Red Sox can languish through 80 years or what was it of the curse and reverse the curse in 2004, then we can last.
Yeah, anything's possible. All right, so that's gonna do it. And from Beantown to your town, this is the Beatdown. I'm Matthew Barris.
Gabe Shamus.
Vias
Vias.
Con Dios.